Good morning, David. How are you? You look fabulous.
Oh, bless you. So do you. So do you. Well, this is the run-up to Christmas, you know, 17 days and counting.
I know. I should have worn my Christmas jumper, shouldn't I?
You should have done. You're in my bad books now. Shall we start with... I mean, this story just won't go away, will it, about Gregg Wallace? The story is moving on. What's the latest here about John Torode?
Well, the latest is this is a story that's emerged yesterday. Like you said, it is a story that just doesn't seem to go. John Torode apparently repeatedly raised concerns about Gregg Wallace's behaviour on MasterChef, but no action was taken. So just to briefly recap, Gregg Wallace is accused of making sexual remarks to staff and guests across multiple programmes over 17 years. And it's now been reported that Torode was unhappy about some of Wallace's on-set language and was aware of his bullish reputation, friends of Torode's have said. And he and actress wife Lisa Faulkner are now eager to publicly distance themselves from the scandal. So someone said, you know, John is not stupid. Of course, he was aware of some of Gregg's less savoury behaviour. He didn't condone it, nor did he engage with it. He doesn't have that macho sense of humour. And when he made that comment about the pair of them not being friends, he knew what he was doing. So it was kind of his way of distancing himself when attempts to do so otherwise failed. But what's interesting is he said, you know, he repeatedly flagged his behaviour and poor taste remarks to execs on set, made clear he wasn't happy, but it was never a formal complaint, rather a series of spoken concerns. So he doesn't know whether any formal record was ever made, but he got the sense that, you know, there was this need to protect MasterChef at all costs. As a result, that meant turning a blind eye. So, yeah, really interesting.
I mean, it's difficult to get to the bottom of this because there's an independent production company involved, so obviously those complaints would have gone to the Indie. The Indie is then working on behalf of the BBC. So the question is, I mean, where does the duty of care lie, I suppose, or both, exactly. towards both organisations, I would imagine?
Absolutely. And I think the thing is with, you know, their partnership, John Torode and Gregg, they've always said that they're not... I mean, it's a known fact that they're not the closest of friends, but I think when something like this happens, all attention will naturally turn to John Torode because of the close proximity of their working relationship. But what's interesting, something that's come out this morning, is a report saying that there's little chance Gregg will return to the BBC, and he might prepare to blame autism for his alleged inappropriate behaviour. He's never been formally diagnosed. My friends believe that he displays all the classic symptoms. I've been looking at some reactions to this since the reports came out, and, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, isn't that convenient timing? You know, his close friends say that his inability to kind of judge social situations, having a light filter on the subject of sex, and a close therapist friend of his who didn't want to be named says the MasterChef judge he's never been tested for it. But there is a feeling of responsibility that he may have passed down the disorder to his 4-year-old son, Sid, who is severely autistic, and he's likely to raise the possibility of autism with Banijay, and the suggestion he may never return to the BBC has now been reported as well. So, I mean, this is just something that's going to be carrying on and on. Obviously, he's still under investigation, but it just seems that every day something new is coming out about this.
Let's move on and talk about I'm a Celeb. Where are we with this?
Oh, gosh. I mean, where are we? We have got the semi-final coming up. We now know our finalists. Are you watching it?
I'm not, I'm afraid, because I have a life and I'm normally asleep.
I mean, it's been a really good series.
Has it?
It has. There's been some strong characters. I think there's been, you know, huge famous names in it. We've got Colleen Rooney, and, you know, Talisa of N-Dub's fame has got everyone talking because she has been shrouded in mystery ever since she came out of the celebrity jungle. She deleted all of her posts from social media. She didn't appear on Unpacked, which is the spin-off show. And she's boarded a flight home. She's gone. She's not going to be there for the reunion. The Sun spoke to someone really, really close to Talisa. They just kind of wanted to set the record straight. And they said she's not fallen out with her best friend. She's not fallen out with any of her co-stars, like it's been reported. She's simply really struggled since coming off the show with her mental health.
Right.
And she did do a video on this. And I think, you know, the thing is, you've got to understand with Talisa is she's been out of the spotlight for years, and to be flung back into it on such a huge reality show must be tough. And people handle things in different ways. But, I mean, you can understand why people were talking and saying, why such a huge reaction as soon as coming off the show? I'm a Celeb's also been hit with fix rumours. People are saying that Colleen Rooney is destined to win the show. Various hints here and there. She is in the final alongside Richard Coles, Danny Jones and Oti Mabuse, and that takes place tomorrow night. So we've not got long to wait. I'm sure you'll be tuning in to see who wins.
Oh, well, let me think about it. No, I'm still thinking. That's right.
A big no.
Let's now talk about Taylor Swift.
Yes, Taylor Swift. So we obviously have Spotify Unwrapped, which is the time of year it's really wholesome. Everyone kind of looks to see who their top artist has been and who their top songs, what they've listened to the most throughout the year.
It keeps telling me what I've listened to, by the way.
Did you see it?
No. I don't know. I've got a virtual DJ. It keeps telling me what I've listened to.
Well, it is Taylor Swift's world, and we are all living in it, David. Let me tell you.
Carry on.
I mean, what a year she's had. So Spotify released its annual UK global streaming charts for 2024, and she has done so well. She was the most streamed artist in the UK. She beat competition from rappers like Drake and Kanye and megastars Billie Eilish, The Weeknd. When it came to the Brits, there was no one, so it's actually pretty devastating for us. But Taylor's #1 album, The Tortured Poets Department, has taken the top spot. That was released in April, and then we had Sabrina Carpenter. But I mean, Taylor has just done so well. She landed 2 positions in the top 10 most streamed albums, and she was once again the most streamed artist on earth. So she clocks up a whopping 26.6 billion streams worldwide. This was more than 3 times the population of the planet. So she's a little bit famous, isn't she?
I mean, that's pretty impressive. Let's talk about Chaos, Dancing on Ice.
Yeah, Dancing on Ice. So, I mean, we've got Dancing on Ice, another reality show. When I'm a Celeb stops, we've got another one back on us.
Oh, lucky us. Yeah.
And we've got poor Dame Sarah Story, who is an athlete. She has suffered a really painful injury, which means that she's had to withdraw from the show. And it's such a shame, isn't it? Because they do so much preparation and put in so much work. And she said this week that she's absolutely gutted to have ended her journey. She had an awkward stumble and she fell on her left foot and struck the ice really badly. So she's fractured her left ankle. But she said she's really fortunate that her coach was there, that Sylvain, who was dancing alongside her. And I mean, hopefully she might return for 2026. She's working on a plan with ITV. And she said her career has had so many ups and downs with injury and illness and looking after 2 babies and making big comebacks, because obviously Sarah is Team GB's most successful Paralympian ever. She's won 19 gold medals as a cyclist and swimmer.
That's incredible.
Isn't it? She was born with an undeveloped left hand and her arm was tangled in the womb. And there was a point where she said she didn't believe she had enough of a disability to be classed as a Paralympian. But it was going to be really great to see her on the ice, but wishing her obviously a very speedy recovery.
Absolutely right. Moving from Strictly Dancing on Ice to Strictly.
Oh, Strictly. I know. It's we've also got Strictly coming up. I mean, Strictly has, I think this is always the way. They've got really strong dancers and celebrities. And then there's always one who kind of gets through to the final rounds as, they're just for their personality. And in this, I think Pete Wicks is great. I really, really like him. He's brought something new to the show. However, when, more kind of strong dancers are getting voted out, that's when the conversation starts to turn to, why is he still being allowed to go through?
Well, I mean, it's the sense of fair play, isn't it? I think the British public like an underdog.
They like an underdog, and that is what it's all about, isn't it? And I think with Strictly, if we were all sat there watching... it's about the journey, isn't it? I think on Strictly, watching really rubbish dancers sometimes.
I totally agree. I agree totally. Let's talk about Coronation Street. Gail Platt is leaving, final day.
I know, Gail Platt. I mean, she is an absolute icon, played by Helen Worth. Helen Worth is a fantastic actress. I think it's 50 years she's been on the couple. I mean, it's an incredible career. So her departure, as you can imagine, is a real hot topic of conversation. Everyone that's a Corrie fan wants to know what's going on. I actually used to watch Coronation Street. I've not really watched it in recent years, but I think for Gail's exit, I will absolutely be tuning in. And ITV have now revealed that exit will be taking place on Christmas Day. We're going to have that big Christmas
exit. Of course it is.
Of course, I mean, what other? It wouldn't be Boxing Day, would it? So, you know, it's going to be an emotional one for Corrie fans, and the Platt family, which girls are part of, are all at odds with each other. ITV have confirmed that she'll bid farewell on Christmas Day. This will obviously mark a new chapter for the Platts, but things could still take a turn for the worse. I think one of the producers of the show has said that they want it to be like a family-friendly vibe. They don't want it to be a big dramatic murder or, you know, anything like that. So. But I just wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't either. And finally, time is tight. Dick Van Dyke, and he's 99. He's got a new starring role.
Yeah, well, if you do have time this weekend, please watch this video. I actually managed to watch it this morning and it was fantastic. Dick Van Dyke, 99 years old, has taken a starring role in Coldplay's latest music video. It's 7 minutes of pure joy, David. You really should watch. Filmed in his Malibu home. It kind of, you know, you see him in his natural habitat. He's dancing. He's joined by so many of his grandchildren, of which there are a lot. And he kind of reminisces on his life. And I just thought a really nice quote was, I'm acutely aware I could go any day now, but I don't know why it doesn't concern me. I'm not afraid of it. I have the feeling I'm going to be all right. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch.
Well, he's Hollywood gold. Lottie, really good to talk to you. Thanks ever so much. Lottie Hulme, senior reporter at The Sun.